So we're reading from this book, Sri Guru and His Grace. And last time we met, we were talking about Nityananda Prabhu as Guru. And that was really worthwhile because it was close to the appearance day of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says, Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado, yasya prasada nagati kutopi. That's a good one. Nagati kutopi. That means there's no way. Nagati, there's no gateway. Gati, gateway. There's no path. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado, yasya prasada nagati kutopi. Jayam stuvang tasya yashas tri sandyam. Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam. As I bow down to the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev, by his grace, we achieve the grace of Krishna. Without his grace, we are lost. So the name of our book is Sri Guru and His Grace, because when we were making this book, Goswami Maharaj asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said, we're going to make a book about Guru. I think we should call it Guru, heavier than the Himalayas. What do you think, Maharaj? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, no, it should be Sri Guru and His Grace. So here we have that shloka from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Therefore, we should always meditate on Sri Gurudev, Dhyayam Stubang Tasya Yashastri Sandhyam, and pray for his mercy. Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam. This is the position of Sri Guru, by whose grace we can get everything. We can get the grace of Krishna. And without whose grace, we have no other prospect. So without the grace of Guru, we're like Humpty Dumpty, sitting on the wall, meditating on the universe with his egghead ways, only to fall, smash to smithereens, not to be put back together by all the king's horses and all the king's men. We have no other prospect. So in this way, we must have reverence for he who has given us our first connection with Krishna consciousness. Guru is not a doll. But at the same time, we offer reference to Gurudev. We must not conceive that the Guru is a doll, a lifeless figure. Because we are familiar with a particular figure and accept that as our Guru, we should not become misled. The important thing is what he says, his instructions. This is really a key aspect of the teachings of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. He says what's important about the Guru is what he says, his instructions. So it's nice to have a service to Sri Guru, just like my old friend who recently passed away, Chidananda Prabhu. He became Siddhanti Maharaj. He met Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami, in Culver City, California, close to our temple there, when Prabhupada's car broke down. He was driving a Mercedes. Of course, he wasn't driving. He had a driver. The car broke down and they couldn't move. And Chidananda was walking down the street. And he said, well, what's the problem here? Let me help you. And it turned out the distributor cap was loose. And he adjusted that and they went on their way. But later on, he would do things for Srila Prabhupada, like work on his car. And that's great. That's service. But on the other hand, what's the deeper service? Service to the word, service to the truth, service to the idea, or service to the car? Service to the car is nice if you can get that service. Like Frank Sinatra once said, nice work if you can get it, and you can get it if you try. Nice work if you can get it. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying, look, the Vapu, that's nice. If you can get personal service to Guru Dev and serve him his yogurt in the morning, or shine his shoes, whatever it is, that's great. That's wonderful, personal service. But we're interested in the truth. Uh, we're interested in the idea. So he says, don't conceive that the guru is a doll, a lifeless figure. The important thing is what he says, his instructions. That is attracting our inner hearts. I am not this body. I'm the inquirer, that thing which is satisfying me, drawing the inquirer to the inquired. I must try to locate that thing in him. I must not rely on material calculation. I am not this body. Who am I, the disciple? Am I only this body, this figure, this color, this caste? Or am I this temperament, this scholarship and intellectualism? No. I am he who has come to seek. Who is the party within me and who is the party in Guru? And I suppose this is why I love Srila Sridhar Maharaj and why I'm so attracted to his line, because he lays emphasis on the substance over the form. Who is the party within me and who is the party in Guru? We must be fully awake to that. What is the inner thing? I have come for that. So sometimes I see people doing things, and I think, I did not come for that. Organic food is lovely, but I didn't come for the organic food, you know? I came for the inner thing. I've come for that. We must be awake to our own interest. There's the relative principle and the absolute principle. Wow. We have to eliminate the form, ignore the form. We shall always have to keep the spirit. Otherwise, we become form worshippers, idol worshippers. So even, for example, I don't want to say anything offensive, but if we're in the age of the holy name, then we should take it that the holy name will reveal Krishna to us, and that we search for divinity through the divine sound. And it's possible that someone organizes a group and do their best to keep the spirit within the group. But in the end, we're always interested in the spirit. Guru, more than meets the eye. It is said, of course, that the connection with the spiritual master is eternal. Chakshudan dilo ye janme janme Prabhu say. He's my Lord, birth after birth. But we must not identify our guru with the appearance we perceive with our physical senses. Our inner identification of him will be clarified according to the growth of our vision. When our vision increases and takes shape from material to transcendental, his look will also change accordingly. A man is sometimes known most externally by his uniform, and then by his body, by his mind, then by his intelligence. As much as our eye will develop to see things rightly, what we are seeing will also change its face. Krishna says, Acharyam mam vijaniyam. Ultimately, it is I who am the Acharya. It is the function of divinity, and in different stages there may be different forms. Different acharyas may work at the same time. The knowledge, the ideal, is growing from subtle to gross, and the depth of the vision of the eye will disclose the different figures of the different acharyas. It will go in different rasas to the highest position. by a gradual process of realization. Otherwise, our knowledge will be based on the material conception, and to force the material conception onto divinity is a crime. It is ignorance. It is erroneous. We have to free ourselves from the snare of identifying reality with the physical form presented to our senses. The eyes deceive us. They cannot give us the proper form or color. The ears cannot give us the proper sound. The concrete reality is beyond the experience of our senses. So then what is that thing? Because we are in such a low position, we can gradually go there to the inner world only with the help of our guru. But how can we recognize our guru? Sometimes in the winter, he wears a particular dress, and in the summer, he wears another dress. If we attach too much importance to the external dress, then what should we do? Should we think that the dress is indispensable to the body? The guru may come to us in a particular body. Suppose the guru appears as a young man. When he has become an old man and the young form has grown into another form, how are we to recognize him? How are we to differentiate? Again, in one birth, he may have come in a particular body, and another time he may appear in a different body. The same guru may appear differently at different times. How are we to recognize him? From the external consideration, we must go to the internal. If I am devoid of flesh and blood and I exist only in a subtle body, then I shall also find my guru there in a subtle body. The demigods, Gandharvas, and Siddhas, the perfected beings in the heavenly planets also have their gurus, but they do not have a material body, nor does their guru have a material body. So, by eliminating the external conception, we have to enter into the internal, and that will be all important to a progressive disciple. That does not mean that one should disregard the physical form of the guru, but the real importance is within. We must worship the remnants of the guru, his coat, his boot, his sandal. But that does not mean that his shoe is superior to his body. We must serve his person in a similar way. If we're eager to do some physical service for him, if we want to massage his feet, but he does not desire that and says, no, 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 then what should we do? Should we do that? Our internal obedience to him will be higher. In this way, we have to make progress from the gross to the subtle. Who is Guru? Where is he to be located? What is his ideal? What does he really want me to do? These things must not be dismissed from our ears. We must not give only formal obedience. We want the spiritual way. This is a big sticking point uh, because often our God brothers and friends and the disciples of our God brothers and friends and the disciples of the students of the disciples of our God brothers and friends will explain to us how we should be obedient to Guru Dev. And they'll say, well, what you're doing now, this is not obedience to your guru. But of course, the Bible says, judge not, lest ye be judged. Again, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. In other words, it's not really one's position to go after one's God brothers and uh, put them in line, so to speak, and then find out that the line is changing. There's this expression, getting your ducks in line. I saw this video the other day of somebody trying to get their ducks in a line. It isn't easy to do. You have swans there, and in Ireland. We worship the swan-like souls, the swan-like devotees. But it's very difficult for them to get into a straight line because each duck has his own little path. So in the same way, sometimes our God brothers tell us, and they're well-intentioned, they love their guru, who was the successor, disciple guru of another guru of another guru, and they're telling you, what is the correct line of obedience? But here's the Sridhar Maharaj, he says, we want a spiritual way. We must not give only formal adherence. So someone creates a society, and then the society makes rules, and then there's a new president of that society who changes the rules, and so it goes. And then you find yourself on the other side of the line. There's the ducks, they're in a line, but I'm over here. Hmm? Srila Sri Rama says, it is all a spiritual transaction. The spiritual man is going to the spiritual world to have the spiritual realization. It is all a spiritual transaction. And all conceptions of mundane, whether physical, mental, or intellectual, should be eliminated in our journey if we want to go to the inner world of substance. So allegiance and obedience are interesting concepts. How does that work out in terms of your own particular spiritual path? The other day I was talking with Pranashish, and he's told me, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid to say this? Or why are you afraid to say that? Who's going to tell you otherwise? And I thought, well, he has a point. You know, I, I, I made this book. This is life's work. I did this. This book would not exist without my work. Now, I don't want to take, I'm not here to toot my horn or get on an ego trip about it. But yeah, I stand behind the words that are in here because I printed them. It's Srila Sridhar Maharaj's words, but we went to India, we collected his words, and I told Goswami, let's make a book. And I sat down and I did all the drudge work and put the words into type and typed it up on a machine. And we sat around countless mornings struggling over, well, I noticed here in this chapter, the end of the chapter, he talks about Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we had to fight over, well, do we say Swami Maharaj? Do we say His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada? Do we say Bhaktivedanta Swami? How are we supposed to put that? Well, this book will be read by generations of devotees. We should uh, offer some respect. Perhaps, I'm not sure exactly if those were the proper words of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, or as editors, we included that, and we have to stand and fall on the basis of what we put there. But I stand by this book. See, that was my life's work. Now, by doing that, by reading this to you now, am I being obedient? Is this my service? I'm not sure. I really wish it were, you know. There are those who would say, no, what you need to do is over there on, 4th Street and Vine uh, is the Sri Temple, and you should put money over there. And the way to get money is this. And we don't get money this way, we get money that way. So what is obedience? It's a difficult concept that one has to work out personally, I think. If you look at the Catholic Church, for example, uh, there are priests who demanded a certain amount of obedience from very young children, and it didn't work out well, did it? You know. So, and the children would say, am I really supposed to be doing this with you, Father? And the priest would say, yes, this is obedience. You're being obedient now. And years later, they wrote terrible, scandalous books accusing the church of doing terrible things. Well, It doesn't mean one loses one's faith. It means there are always corrupt individuals. There's always individuals who are struggling with their own faith and may do some good work, and on the other hand, may do some terrible things. Apichat Sudaracharo, Bhajatimam Ananyabhat, Krishna says, my devotee, he sometimes does terrible things, but you have to see him as a saint. Look at the Battle of Kurukshetra. Look at the people who were killed there, or the people who did the killing. Many of them were great devotees. Bhishma Dev dies on a bed of arrows. You know, he was struck down by what was the name? Shikandi, a transsexual. Ew. You know, what is the position of Shikandi? What is the position of Arjuna there for helping him? What a terrible thing. Bhishma Dev, he's, at the end of the Mahabharata, there's the Bhishma Parva, and it's one of the thickest chapters in the Mahabharata because Bhishma goes on and on explaining all these wisdom teachings. He's a really deep soul, but for the greater glory of the Pandavas, to erase the military might of so many demons who were overburdening the world with armies, he had to go. And Arjuna was the instrument. So is that an abominable act on the part of Arjuna? Well, it's argued, yeah. You know, why is Karna struck down while he's carrying the chariot wheel? It's as if in a boxing match, Jake LaMotta is trying to adjust his mouthpiece, and Sugar Ray Robinson comes over and clocks him. The referee would say, wait a minute, you can't do that. He was adjusting his, give him a chance. Here's Karna. His chariot wheel is broken. Everyone says, no, Karna, he's a noble soul. He's a great tragic hero. Why strike him down while he's only trying to adjust his chariot? Give him a chance. In all the great movies where they have sword fights, at some point, the villain drops his sword and the hero lets him pick it up again. Come on, we're having a fair fight. I'm not going to stab you while you're on the ground. But Krishna tells Arjuna, this is your time. Otherwise, you're not going to defeat Karna. You can't. So all these abominable things are being done by so many great souls. How is it possible? When they asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj, how is it possible that, you know, ISKCON, Chaitanya Saraswat Math, so many organizations are fighting? And Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, well, those who engage in search, they cannot follow the perfect course. This is from a transcript in 1982. Some defect and hitch. Then there's the Leela, which satisfies Krishna. We find difference in the group of the servants. In the normal position of Vrindavan, there's also some fightings. Fighting is not bad. Fighting, if to satisfy Krishna's whim, sweet will, that is acceptable to me. What's the rub? What's the bad there? Satisfaction for Krishna? If fighting is satisfaction, we shall do that. So each one has their own path, really. You know, my path is different from your path. People will criticize me. Why are you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? You know, but I came to the mission because Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami's books, I was convinced. I thought, this is great. This is the deepest thing. I'm a book fanatic. I've read thousands. But I read the Bhagavad Gita and I thought, this is it. It doesn't get any better. Let me find out, who is this Swami Prabhupada? I joined the mission. I gave everything up. I gave them my jewelry, my guitar, my money. And they said, okay, now go out and beg. Okay. That's why? Do it. All right, it's for Prabhupada. Okay. We used to eat for breakfast at the Brahmacharya ashram in Los Angeles. We would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, attend RT at 4:30, and then pray, 16,108 times the Hare Krishna mantra and our japa beads. And then when we sat down for breakfast, they would give us a yellow piece of wax paper on the floor, which I guess was supposed to simulate the idea of a banana leaf. And you would get 12 chickpeas for protein and some oatmeal and hot milk. And that was your breakfast. And then I would go uh, sometimes to the airport where I would stop people and say, "Excuse me, sir, where are you coming in from? Excuse me, sir, where are you coming in from? Excuse me, sir." Yeah, okay. Excuse me, sir, buzz off. Excuse me, sir, buzz off. Excuse me, sir, I know it, I have it, I saw it, I read it. Excuse me, sir, is that the blue one? Yes, the blue. I have the blue one. You have the red one? No, I don't have the red one. Okay, I'll buy the red one next time, you know. And this way I would go out and distribute. I was supposed to try to distribute about 20 Bhagavad Gitas every day. And sometimes it wasn't possible. We would go to the Pomona Fair in Los Angeles, which has like 100,000 visitors a day. And I would give people Back to Godhead magazine, you know. I'd say, "Hi, we're collecting for the kids. Help out." And they'd give me 25 cents or $1, and I'd give them Hare Krishna magazine. And sometimes they'd turn around and, "What is this? Wait a minute." Or the Christians would be behind me saying, "Get thee behind me, Satan. Get thee behind me, Satan. This man, he's distributing Satan." You know, and I met all kinds of interesting people, Mormons, Jesus freaks, Catholics, Christians, yoga people, uh, everyone, thousands every day for years before I came to understand, no, wait a minute, Srila Prabhupada left the planet. What are we doing now? They want me to go out and sell Barry White records, which I did for a while. But, Bhakti Sudhir Goswami taught us how to do it. We would drive around in a van, and there was a driver and a distributor. We had a ton of old records in the van that we bought cheap for 10 cents a piece. And we'd lean out the window and we'd go, "Hey, buddy, hey, man, check it out." And they'd look at you like, "What?" This is before the days that people would kidnap, and steal and rob people like that. You can't do it today. You go, "Hey, man." I go, "What?" "You heard about it, right?" "Well, what's that?" "The Beatles are getting back together. You heard about that, right?" "Well, yeah, I did hear about the Beatles getting back together." "Yeah. Who are you?" "Man, we're with KRSNA. You heard about it, right? KRSNA radio." KRS. "Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. Here, take one of these." We give him a Barry White record. Whoa, what's that for? The benefit concert, man. Didn't I tell you? Come on, pitch in. And our whole rap was carefully planned so that we weren't exactly telling any lies. We never said we were with the Beatles. We never said that we were with any radio station. We just said, "Did you hear about it?" And obviously they did, because if you suggest something to somebody enough, they're like, "Yeah, the power of suggestion, powerful." So this way I collected thousands and thousands of dollars for Srila Prabhupada, the temple in Los Angeles, so that the pujaris would have the, you know, luxury of being able to say what we're doing is pure. And what you guys are doing, it's questionable. Is that really obedience? I don't know. It's kind of dirty what you're doing. Right? The money was dirty, but, it was well spent. Anyways, you know, so I stood on street corners preaching Hare Krishna, to total strangers for, I don't know, 6 years. And after that, I spent, 2 years on this book and so many other similar books. Okay, I took sannyas. Yeah, he left it. But then, other people also took sannyas and left it. It's interesting. That guy, Srila Sridhar Maharaj likes him sometimes. Aurobindo. Didn't really like him, but Sri Aurobindo is an interesting person. He mentions Aurobindo Ghosh in the last chapter we talked about. Here is Mr. Ghosh, right? Aurobindo Ghosh was a freedom fighter for Bengal when uh, Calcutta was the capital of India for a time. But they moved the capital from Calcutta to Delhi because the Bengalis were too serious about independence. And one of the great independence fighters was Aurobindo Ghosh. So he went to jail for his beliefs. And you can look it up on the internet and see the jail that he was in, smaller than the room I'm in now. Just little tiny cell with no windows. When you close the big iron door, it's completely dark. But somehow he spent, I don't know, 5, 10 years in jail for anarchy and bombing, whatever he wrote in the Amrita Bazar Patrika that Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhar Maharaj likes to quote. And when they let him out, he had changed his mind. He decided to dedicate himself to the message of the Bhagavad Gita. And so Sri Aurobindo, I can't remember why I'm talking about him. Why am I talking about Aurobindo? Oh, now I remember. Yeah. He suggests, he said, when he was a freedom fighter, he said we should have sannyasis for freedom fighters, people who renounce everything only for the cause of freedom. But their sannyas should only last like 6 years. And after 6 years, they can move on. So I thought, well, that's an interesting idea. I lasted about 6 years. Anyways, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bore you. But the idea is uh, my path is not your path. You cannot do what I did. I can't do what you do. I wouldn't want to. My brother drives a truck. I'm a teacher. He would not be able to last one day as a teacher, and I couldn't last one day driving a truck. It wouldn't work out. He would walk into the classroom, and after 10 minutes, I had a friend of mine here in Mexico. He was a psychologist, and psychologists are always on about dialogue. You know, we need more communication. And he needed a job, so we got him a job at a local school where he could counsel children like 3 or 4 hours a day, but he had to give one class as part of his contract. So after 1 week, and this guy he's really mellow. Now he's an artist. You know? So yeah, he's a popular artist here in the San Miguel. But he's the sweetest, mellowest guy you could possibly know. And everything is all about dialogue and take it easy and we need to talk and communication. And so they gave him a classroom with 50 screaming Mexican kids, you know, and he lasted, I think, 2 days. And then he was on top of his desk waving his arms saying, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." And they had to let him go. So my brother, he's a tough Hell's Angels motorcycle madman guy who weighs about 200 kilos and he's got a big beard and drives a 18-wheel truck loaded with 80 tons of glass 500 miles a day. I could never touch that. But put him in a classroom with 50 screaming Mexican kids, I doubt he'd last 15 minutes, They'd tear him to shreds. So your path is not my path. Your obedience is not my obedience. You say, well, you know, our Guru Dev selected so and so went to the great beyond, and now such and such has succeeded him, but then he moved on, and now we've got a new president of the mission. And if you don't eat 5 chickpeas a day, uh, you're not being obedient. Maybe, maybe. But then there's the cult, you know, and all glories to the cult. But then there's also you and me and my particular path. So I think, you know, if you go out and sell 20 Bhagavad Gitas a day for, oh, 5 years, and then you print The Search for Sri Krishna and The Loving Search for the Lost Servant and Sri Guru and His Grace and so on, and you travel the world, preaching Krishna consciousness in Czechoslovakia and East Berlin and Russia and Thailand. Um, okay, let's see what you're made of. And then you can tell me how to be obedient, you know. Or as as Govinda Maharaj used to say, after 70, some rules do not apply. You know, they would tell Govinda Maharaj, but Govinda Maharaj, you're drinking tea? Oh, oh. He didn't really like people to know that he was drinking tea. He didn't publish it widely. He would say, let me have some hot water, please, and then he would have a little hot water. And others would say, oh my God, what did Bhaktivedanta Swami say about tea drinking? He hated tea drinking because his wife Radha once took some of his books down to the local tea shop where they would put tea crackers on one side of the scale and whatever else on the other and see, like, would they offer your weight in tea crackers? And so she got the Bhagavatam's weight in tea crackers. And when she brought the tea crackers home, uh, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was enraged. What? You sold my books for tea crackers. And so Srila Prabhupada did not take kindly to tea drinking. But Govinda Maharaj quietly, then he would say, well, look, when after 70 years old, certain rules do not apply, you know, like I'm very lucky. I did not die of a heart attack 10 years ago, and I find that a little bit of tea keeps my mind alert. Tea was invented in China to help keep the Buddhist monks' minds alert when they were meditating on nothing, which is hard to figure out. Why would you have to be alert? Why would you have to be alert to think of nothing? But apparently, it takes great mental agility, just like Humpty Dumpty. Okay. Anyways, progress, elimination, and acceptance. So he says we want to go to the inner world of substance. This attitude will decide our real progress, our real design of life. Our fulfillment comes always from the inner side. If one can catch up that thread, then he can go and get things of that higher spiritual quality. We may appreciate the beautiful figure, style, movement, and intellectual delivery of the spiritual master. And so many other things may be appreciable. But what should be the highest focal point of our realization? Wow. You're saying, well, you might decide that this man is my guru because he gives me a good vibration. He's got a good style. I love his movement. I love his intellectual, delivery. But Srila Sri Ramakrishna is always saying, go deeper. That's not enough. Hmm? What should be our highest aim, for which we eliminate everything else? Progress means elimination and acceptance. And our spiritual life must always be a dynamic thing. Otherwise, we should be dead. Progress means acceptance and elimination. The scientists also say this in their theory of natural selection, survival of the fittest. Nature is selecting some and eliminating others. Life is dynamic. We're living in a dynamic world. Everywhere we find acceptance and elimination. That is progress. And our life must be progressive, not static. To get the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, we should try as far as possible to study the character of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, to serve his Dham and his devotees. That will easily help us attain the grace of Nityananda Prabhu. And there will always be so many practical dealings in our present stage, but we must always keep the highest ideal over our head. With this ideal, we shall be able to make progress. Our ideal, our highest model, that is our all in life, to be acquainted with the conception of the highest ideal and to be on the path of realization of that goal is the greatest wealth in one's life. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami prays, I only aspire after one thing. I cherish the hope that one day I may be welcomed into the plain where Radhika and Madhava are in their glory, sitting and playing. That should be our prospect. This is found in Raghunath Das Goswami's prayer to his guru. He says, Nama Shreshtam Manum Api Sachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Uruparim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasham Prakto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Gurum Tangnato Smi. I'm fully indebted to Sri Gurudev. Why? He's given me so many things. He's given me the highest conception of the holy name of Krishna, the highest form of sound, which contains the highest form of thought, aspiration, ideal, everything. And next, he has given me the mantra. The name is there within the mantra. Without the mantra is nothing. If the name of Krishna is withdrawn and replaced with another name, the mantra will give the opposite result. The name of Krishna is all in all. And within the mantra, the name is couched in a particular way as a sort of prayer. Then he says, He has given me the service of that great Savior, the son of Mother Sachi, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is like a golden mountain standing to show the direction of Krishna Lila. And Gurudev has brought me to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu's most favorite personal assistant, Swarup Damodar, who is a representation of Lalita Devi, the most favorite friend of Radhika. Then he has brought me in connection with Sri Rupa, who was ordered to distribute the highest kinds of devotional love, rasa. Vaidhi Bhakti, the worship of the Lord in awe and reverence, is of a lower order, but Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous love, the heart's innermost dealings, was distributed through Srila Rupa Goswami. Mahaprabhu considered Sri Rupa the best to deal with Rupanuga Bhakti. Das Goswami said, then by his grace, I've achieved the association of Srila Sanatana Goswami, who adjusts our position in relation to Raganuga Bhakti. He explains the path of Vaidhi Bhakti and gives us Sambandha Gyan, the knowledge of what is what, a proper acquaintance with the environment. Then he says, Gurudev has given me Mathura Mandala, where Radha and Govinda have their pastimes, where the forest, the hills, every creeper, shrub, and grain of sand, everyone is bearing the acquaintance of Radha Krishna Lila. And wherever I cast my glance, they will help me in my remembrance of Radha and Govinda. I have received all these things from my Gurudev. Vrindavan, where the cows and the milkmen have their village constructed. I'm becoming acquainted with their association, their nature, and their feelings of love for Krishna. By the grace of Gurudev, I have become acquainted with Radha Kund, the favorite place of Radha and Govinda for their pastimes. and this great Govardhan. And lastly, he's given me the hope that one day I can get the service of Sri Sri Radhikant Madhava. I've been given all these assurances by my Guru Dev, so I bow my head with all my respects to his lotus feet. So, if we're conscious of all these spiritual masters, as you just mentioned, from Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, uh, Rupa Goswami, Swarup Damodar, Raghunath Das Goswami, if we're conscious of all these spiritual masters, then we can think that we've approached our Gurudev properly. What is our Guru? What is his mission? It is filled with all these things. Devoid of that, what is our interest? And then there's a little tag where a devotee mentions ISKCON, and he says, what is ISKCON? The devotee says, there are so many visions about the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. But what should the real vision of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness be? Srila Sridhar Maharaj, in this verse, Raghunath Das Goswami gives us the real acquaintance. What is ISKCON? Nama Shreshtam Nama Api Sachiputram Atra Swarupam. In other words, what it was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar, Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, the worship of Radha Madhava. ISKCON must not deviate from this line. We have not come here to deceive ourselves, but to fulfill ourselves. ISKCON will fulfill everyone's inner demand. So, in other words, any spiritual society that sticks to the principles given here by Raghunath Das Goswami profoundly will fulfill everyone's inner demand, even extending to the vegetables and stones, taking them to the feet of Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis. From village to village, everyone in every place should be hunted and approached. Take the name of Krishna. Come under the flag of Mahaprabhu. This grand worldwide mission will thrive like anything. It will touch the heavens and cover the earth and other planets also. That was the aim of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and we understand and appreciate that. So that's our morning reading of Sri Guru and His Grace. Morning here in Mexico, by the light of the Krishna sun, morning everywhere. There was a devotee, Goswami Maharaj used to tell me, there was this devotee in Calcutta, and at the end of every Bhagavatam lecture, at the back of the room, an Indian man, he would shout, "Oh world, sunshine, Prabhupada." So it's sunshine time over here in Mexico, and we hope some of that sunshine gets reflected in other parts of the world. So God bless you all, and may the good Lord keep you and take good care of you. And I hope that you will join us again and give us your blessings that we may be able to speak again on the sublime subject of Sri Guru and His grace. Any questions? Everyone's afraid to ask questions, I know. Questions are okay. We'll leave the questions for another time. So all glories to Suvasini Minakshi Sundaram and Pranashish Prabhu and Hari Priya and all the collected Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Hari Hari Hari.
And
Dial.
Yogi Prabhu, such great appreciation and love for you, and thank you very much.
Peace. Hare Krishna. I'm leaving you now, but we'll see you again next week. All right? Bye-bye.
Jai Yogi Prabhu. Jai.
Dandavas. Thank you so much.